In this video, I'll be making a hare jump and walk, and then hopefully through doing that, I'll be able to show how to move joints in Alice. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Setup Scene, and then go to the biped class, and find the hare, which here it is, the option to make a new hare. So I'm just going to drag that out to about there, and I'll just keep the name the same, then press OK. And now, so that later if I move the camera in order to see certain movements better, I don't lose my initial place of where I want to view the hare, I'm going to scroll down on this sidebar, and here I already have a camera marker made, but just to show it from scratch, I'm going to delete it and add a new camera marker called camera marker 1, and that way later it makes it easy to return to my initial viewing position. So now I'm going to go back to edit code, and here in my first method I could code how to make the hare jump. I can also do it just as a general method in scene, but instead, since the hare is a biped and I want to be able to, at least even just for a rough reference of how to make other bipeds jump, I want to be able to have this code and be able to use it. I'm going to code it completely under biped. So I can just come here to this little shape next to scene and then go under biped and add a biped procedure. So I'm just going to call it hare walk. Remember that for methods, the first letter is always going to be lower caps, and then the first letter of the second word can be uppercase to differentiate both words from each other. So now I'm going to press OK and start coding on the biped procedure. Since the hare will just be moving forward, I'll probably have to adjust my camera marker to be further from the hare than it is right now. But for now, I'll just focus on showing the main steps to make the hare jump and move. So the first thing to make the hare simulate jumping is going to be bending its knees. So there's two ways to do this. I can come here to where it says this in this little drop down, click the arrow down, and then in this go to the side arrow and get the left knee, which is right here. So then I can press it, and then that opens up all kinds of move options for the left knee already specifically. I don't want to actually drag a move because that will literally move the left knee from its normal position in the hare's body into something else. So instead what I want to do is just turn the left knee. The way that Alice works on these movements can sometimes seem sort of counterintuitive, so it's recommended to try different turns and their directions so that you can find what direction makes the knee or whatever limb you're trying to move in the right direction. For example, here I'm going to make the left knee, so I'm going to drag it out here, and then I'm going to turn it forward 0.25. Just so that I can see it well, I'm going to also add a duration of 0.25. So although turning the left knee forward seems odd, because when picturing how to make someone jump, the first thing we think of is them crouching. This is actually how Alice simulates it. So now that I've made the left knee move forward, I also have to make it move backwards so that the bunny doesn't just keep moving the left knee forward, the hare forward and forward until it just contorts in a strange way. So what I want to do is move the left knee forward, then backwards to its original position, and then do the same with the right knee. And basically, those two things done in order, I'm going to do together. So now I'll show you what I mean. Another way to also move a limb is to just go back to this. Here, what I want to do is scroll all the way down to a turn, then drag out the turn, and just do backwards because I'm undoing what I just did with the left knee, so I'll be going backwards the same amount so that it ends in the same place, and then I'll give it the same duration just to keep the movements looking consistent. So another way to move a limb without having to go specifically to it through the drop down and whatnot is to just come here through a regular turn, click this, and then on the little sidebar, once again I can just go down and get the left knee. So now that I have the left knee turning, what I want to do is also have the right knee turn. So a shortcut to not having to do it all again from scratch is to just once again drag out another turn from this, or depending on what computer you're using, in Macs I would just press Option, and then while I'm pressing Option, drag out whatever code I'm trying to copy. And in other computers I would just copy with Control, doing the same thing, pressing down Control and then dragging out the code I'm trying to copy. So here I'll do the same with this one. So now I'm keeping the code the same. The difference is that now the last two I'm doing for the right knee. So if I do this just like this, it will actually not show up correctly because although it will do what we want it to do, it's going to look odd since the right knee should be turning at the same time as the left knee, and this will just in default do all these codes one by one in order. So just to show how it would look strange, I'm going to run the program. But first, before I can run anything, I need to include my hare walk method in my first method. That's the only way the program will run. So I can just come here into this hare and then drag out hare walk into my first method. So now I can run it and see what it's doing. So there it just looks like it's walking, but we want to make it look like it's jumping. So what I can do is just have these two happen in order. So the left knee turn forward and backwards, and then have the right knee turning backward and forward also happen in order, which I would actually want it to be turning forward first and then backwards, just like the left knee. But although I want those two small things to be done one after the other, I want both of them in general to be done at the same time, both methods for turning the left knee and the right knee. That way, I'm just going to restart it so that it's more visible, or give it a longer duration. That way, now we can see it looks more like the hare's jumping rather than taking a step. So there. Now because I wanted to move the way bunnies do and jump but also move forward, I'm going to, inside this do together, drag out a move forward, which is actually all the way up here, I'm only going to make it move 0.25, and then I'll move up so that it moves forward to walk, but also moves up to simulate the jumping. And I'll have the move up be also 0.25. Although, to make it be more visible, I'll just make it 2 so that we can really see what the code is doing. So that was too much. I'm going to just make it 1.5 in that case. For both of them. Don't want it to walk forward too much and don't want it to jump up too much. Okay, so as you can see here, it's moving up and it looks like it's jumping, but we're missing the landing part. And we also want that to be done together with everything else, meaning we want it to happen at the same time as the left knee and the right knee are turned and the hair is moving forward and up. But if I just drag out another move downward and up right after these two, these are just inside another do together. So it's going to move forward and up, but at the same time it's going to move down and backwards. So these two movements done together, one after the other, will just cancel each other out. I would need a do together on him moving forward and up, and then another do together for when the hair moves down and backwards. So here I'll change this to backwards and to down. And all I would need to do is have a do in order around those two do togethers so that they don't cancel each other out. So now I'm going to test it. And there it is, the hair jumping up and down. Now to make it look better, I can make the jump be 0.5 so that the camera gets all of the movement. And there it is. So that's how I would use moving the limbs, well, not specifically moving, rather turning the limbs to simulate jumping, and the same could be done for walking using hips or for raising arms up using shoulders. Just remember to try out all the directions first, and one by one say how much you'll be moving and into which direction so that you test as you go.